Greetings from Ukraine. How are you? Thank you for your nice comments, supportive comments on my last video. I made it about what Ukrainian women pray about during this war. And this time, the subject of the video is it possible and fair to reach a peace treaty within a month between Russia and Ukraine? But let me give you an update about Milana. What's going on with her? We all care and worry about the child. We want her to have a bright future, full life. So what is she doing? She's taking her syrup and she is stretching her arms and legs. And now Milana is learning how to turn from belly to her back. And parents are in touch with multiple NGOs to organize fundraisers. They are also in touch with Caritas, and Caritas will be sharing, they cannot help parents directly, but they will be sharing contacts who can be useful to help Milana. She needs to have the injection before she is 2 years old, so her body can develop properly, and so she can live and move properly and not be on a wheelchair. I ask you to donate to help her, and any advice is useful. There is a letter about freezing a war between Ukraine and Russia. We are concerned that Russia would take not only our independence, if it would take over Ukraine, but it would take also Ukraine's ethnicity and our distinctive character. Let's read, let me know what you think. Is it possible that peace can be achieved next month in 24 hours by applying pressure to the path of least resistance? It sounds convenient, but what does it really entail? To freeze the status quo means to reward Putin with lands for war atrocities. It's an offensive against humanity and God. So many allegations of internationally killing and torturing and raping civilians, taking children and looting. It means that this will be excused by civilized world. All those accused of war crimes must stand trial in Hague to prevent them from committing further atrocities. Could have World War II ended with negotiations? Could it have been frozen at the status quo? And would it be possible just to give Hitler all the lands he captured? Well, there was an attempt. There was the Munich Agreement. Germany was allowed to annex part of Czechoslovakia. Chamberlain stated that he had achieved peace of our time, but Hitler said that piece of paper is of no significance whatsoever, and World War II started soon after. So why do we even suggest negotiations? There were agreements before. In 1954, Russia formally confirmed that Crimea was part of Ukraine. In 1991, Ukraine's borders were internationally recognized and accepted, including Crimea. A fair public referendum was held in Crimea, and majority voted that Crimea should be part of Ukraine. So Crimea should remain part of Ukraine. Because let's think what we teach children like Milana. Let's think we agree that this will be the case, Crimea is part of Ukraine, then how do we go and change on ourselves? Are we to say now that previous agreements, international law, and democratic vote can be voided by war? Other dictators and terrorist groups would like an answer to this question. I completely agree with this. And I think it's not only a problem with Russia. Now we have other countries that are looking to spread their dominance and are watching carefully how much Russia can get. So this can be a much greater threat if we make the wrong decisions. Do not close your eyes on the suffering of Ukrainians and also Georgians, Chechens. Many more countries can suffer and many more people. There can be no peace without first establishing justice. Should we condone these crimes against humanity, more wars will happen. A land for peace ceasefire will simply allow Russia to consolidate gains and continue to build military assets to attack Ukraine even more viciously in the future, especially if the West were foolish enough to ease sanctions for supposed peace. The status quo is unacceptable for both sides. This status quo, what would it mean for Ukrainians who live at the occupied territory? Can you imagine we tell them that now their houses belong to Russia? Actually now it's reported that Russians are taking over people's homes. We tell them you can never come back to your home. And then people cannot go back because they might be prosecuted. They could be prosecuted by Russia, and historically it happened many times before. We see mass graves of people who were resisting, who did not want to be part of Russia. Words and paper documents have become meaningless. What good was the Budapest Memorandum? Numerous Minsk agreements and Russian-Ukrainian friendship treaties. How can anyone think Russia will adhere to new negotiations? This very much looks like Hitler during World War II, not respecting the peace treaty. Understand that this is not a battle over the eastern boundary of Ukraine. Russian soldiers did advance to the capital Kyiv. Ukraine claims ceremonial parade uniforms were brought to Kyiv, expecting a quick victory. Do you think that intention was changed or only been delayed? I really think this has been delayed, and I very much think that Russia hopes to take all Ukraine and even more. That's why Russia is sourcing more weapons from North Korea, from Iran, and probably China. This letter also includes a video of a Russian youth who says he wants to join the army so he can torture and kill Ukrainian people. And he cannot believe that he will be paid for that.
Очень здорово служить по контракту. Ну и во-вторых, вы можете спокойно убивать людей, при этом то, что вы воюете за свою Россию, как бы. Вам никто это ничего не сделает, не посадит вас. Ну и большой плюс то, что можно на СВО ловить, допустим, вот как их там называют, нацисты. И также можно над ними издеваться, ставить на колени, отрезать. Это очень хорошо, это даже придает как-то усилия, как-то, не знаю, гордость тебе, что ли. А тебе еще плюс за это платят деньги, 204 тысячи. Такого, да, ради такого получать еще деньги, убивая людей, как бы, вроде это неплохо, как бы, с одной стороны. Добро должно всегда побеждать. Ну, как бы, да, я бы согласен был бы на такое пойти бы.
Can you imagine this injustice? The perception of reality of Russians is altered. They think it's okay to kill and torture. Would we have the situation where NATO or UN peacekeepers were protecting the lands a non-NATO nation seized through war atrocities and fight against the country seeking NATO membership and only trying to get its own land back? Thank you, the author of this letter, for speaking this truth. Let's realize that foreign news media largely ignores the daily horror, death and destruction all of Ukraine faces. Social media demonizes those that show those horrors, and it's true. It's true. When I travel, I see that there's not much information. Like I know, for example, that some city in Ukraine was bombed, but I do not see it in the media, and people do not know. So it's like information is being cut off. It's not being made available to people. Foreigners do not know how much we suffer. When civilians are intentionally targeted, the world can and must stop it. The author of this letter says, "I have a prayer this Christmas season that the light of God will shine on the hearts and minds of the world to stand against evil. Let the armies of all democracies, all good nations, resolve to assemble in Ukraine to re-establish internationally accepted boundaries. Stop the daily missile and drone attacks. Provide full NATO membership for Ukraine now. This is the only way that Budapest Memorandum can be honored and this terrible war put to an end." Now all eyes are on you, President-elect Trump. Russia asserts that its status quo of captured land cannot be ignored. What has been gained in war can be lost in war. Take away all of Putin's bargaining chips and you dictate the terms of an agreement. That is the art of the deal. Lead the world militaries to restore international order and peace through strength. Refugees need to return to their homes and Ukraine to live safely, now and under NATO protection. Require Russia to pay for damage it caused. Really, really do. This is the only way peace can be restored, and peace not only for Ukraine but for all Russia's neighbors under the threat, and food security for those most vulnerable. Because our grain was exported to Africa through Black Sea and the Azov Sea. May God give us the strength. Let this year be the last this song is sung. If our leaders fail us, then people must act. Support Ukraine according to your values. You can choose defense, landmine removal, medical aid or rebuilding. The link is below in the description of this video. I encourage you to read this letter. It will be on my Facebook page. Like it and share it, because Russia is so good at spreading lies and propaganda, and Ukrainians probably we are not so good at spreading the truth, and I think probably because we are terrified and scared to talk. So I really appreciate people who fight for us. And let's learn the vocab. War criminal. War criminal is військовий злочинець. Військовий злочинець. Військовий злочинець. Has to be prosecuted. Має бути засуджений. Має бути засуджений. Має бути засуджений. Help Ukraine see how justice is served. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and like it. And I see you soon. Bye.